Yeah.
Flossing is to get rid of the things you can't see, because plaque turns into tartar in 48 hours. And once it's tartar, it can only be removed by a hygienist. And so 50% of Americans have gum disease. And if you have gum disease for more than 5 years, you're 70% more likely to have dementia. Looking back, people just don't realize how hard it is. Like, it is a really rough road. But I believed in the product, and I believed that it would change people's lives. And if I didn't have that belief, I don't know if I would have got through the hard part.
So on today's episode of the 2X e-commerce podcast, I talk with someone who's created a product that's making flossing easier, healthier, and surprisingly effective while growing a business from scratch to $4 million in just a few years.
This is the 2X e-commerce podcast, hosted by Kunle Campbell.
Hey everyone, welcome to the 2X e-commerce podcast. I'm so excited for you to hear today's episode because I sat down with BRYNN, the co-founder of Slate Electric Flosser, to talk about how she created a product that's changing the way people think about flossing. Yes, I did say flossing. BRYNN's story is incredible. She and her dentist husband saw a problem most of us ignore and built a patented product that not only makes flossing easier, but also solves big health issues tied to gum disease. Even more amazingly, they've grown their business from zero, absolutely nothing, to over 4 million in sales while navigating all the ups and downs of scaling a direct-to-consumer brand, and they're just beginning. This conversation is packed with practical tips on product development, customer feedback, and scaling with very limited resources, and how to stand out in a crowded market. So if you're an operator, founder, or someone with a big idea, you'll want to take notes on this one. And hey, if you are enjoying these conversations, be sure to give this podcast a follow wherever you listen to it. Your support helps us bring more stories like this one. Let's get into it. Hey, BRYNN, I want to welcome you to the 2X e-commerce podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Brilliant. Okay, so today we're going to talk about Slate Electric Flosser, which is your hero product. Slate is the brand. We've had prior conversations about it. I'm super excited for the innovation you've put into this brand, but it comes with a story, with a backstory, which I'd like you to share with the audience, please.
Okay. Well, a little bit about me. So I am the co-founder. The other co-founder is my husband, Danny. He's a dentist. I went to design school to be a product designer, and I did an internship with Johnson & Johnson. Originally, I wanted to be a shoe designer, but then I did this medical one, and I became super passionate being able to make a product that I felt would change people's lives. Then my husband went to dental school, and I had 4 children, and he decided to buy a dental practice in Spokane, Washington. And he was so excited to help people and help them. And then what he realized is, oh my gosh, so many people are anxious at the dentist. Like 80% of patients that come to the dental office are anxious. So he implemented some things to try to help them. His staff was so good. But what he realized is people were anxious because they were either going to be told they had cavities or they were going to be told they had gum disease. And he was like, those things are totally something people can do something about. All they have to do is floss. And we all know we need to floss, so why aren't we? And he was like, I'm going to invent a way to help people floss. But what he noticed is a lot of people use floss picks. Do you use floss picks?
I do. You mean the plastic contractions that have a flosser there? They're very convenient.
Yes. So yeah, we noticed like everyone was like, they're super convenient. I use them. But hygienists would be like, I can't even tell they're flossing with those. And they're getting out big things like popcorn or beef jerky, but they're not getting rid of the biofilm or the bacteria. So my husband was like, okay, how do I make the floss pick more effective? Because it needs to be super easy. So we invented a product that has what we call gum sweeps. So they go where the gums and teeth meet, and they have these little bristles and ribs, and they go in there and they have sonic vibration. So we've matched the floss pick with the electric toothbrush and made a product that makes flossing easy and effective. And the reason we did that was to help people be able to take charge of their oral health. So when they go to the dentist, they can be confident, and they can also not have cavities or gum disease. 50% of Americans have gum disease. And if you have gum disease for more than 5 years, you're 70% more likely to have dementia. So once you've disrupted all that plaque and bacteria by flossing, though, it goes on your tongue. So on the back of our product is a tongue scraper. It has 2 rows to lift and rake the hairs of the tongue and 1 to squeegee it off. And how I became so passionate about this was I was working, my plan wasn't to work at his office, but one of his front desks got placenta previa. She couldn't be working. So I went and I started working at the front desk. And then she didn't come back. So then I stayed until we got a new office manager. And as I went and I learned all these things, I realized that the normal consumer doesn't speak dentist or hygienist. They don't understand that the pH of what you drink matters. They don't understand that flossing dictates your health. And so I was like, okay, we're going to invent this product and I am going to become a dental interpreter for the average consumer.
Yeah, there's so much to unpick there, but I want to sort of speak to your last statement and then I'll go back to a lot of things you said. I think what I picked up from there is you, as a product person, you immersed yourself in the pain points, as in for you to be in that environment for an extended period of time, a dentist's office, your husband's practice, you were able to really understand the pain points, understand it from a point of view of the end user, as well as understanding from the point of view of a dentist, your husband, and that essentially gave you all the elements to design a groundbreaking patented product, which is in the form of Slate electric flosser. And a lot of product people tend to speak with their clients and have the back and forths, but you had that opportunity to really to get this right, and you did it full justice, which I was super impressed with when I came across the product.
Well, thank you so much.
Okay.
Like, that's actually something I really agree with. I don't think actually I could have invented this product. Dr. SNYDER was so integral in making sure that these gum sweeps actually go into what they call the embrasure area. He actually he used different impression material to shoot in between all the different angles, and then he designed it. This is very much dentist designed.
It's dentist designed. And then, so how did you synergize your product experience with your husband, with Dr. SNYDER? What did you break down, please, what the process was, the product development process was? I'm super excited, super interested rather in that.
Well, I would recommend most people not having a husband and wife try to work together on design because that makes it harder. But the cool thing is what we did was we used dental tools as our inspiration and then users. Okay. So what people don't realize is, why don't you string floss? Well, because of dexterity. So like a 5-year-old or an 80-year-old can't hold floss. So we needed to make the body of it a little bit bigger so that they could hold it. And then we created these edges so that people would know when they have arthritis or a harder time grabbing, they would know where it was in their hand, because they need to know where these go in their mouths. And if it's just circular, then they don't know exactly where the gum sweeps are. We made this neck long enough so that it could go and grab that back molar. The back molar is usually the first tooth extracted in people's mouths. And it's because no one ever grabs they need to grab this side and pull it. It's like every time I do it every night, I'm like, that much was hiding behind my back tooth.
So remember our chat in May earlier this season, episode 33 with Sam Piliero, about scaling from $1 million to $10 million with Google Ads? We talked about the power of maximizing your ad spend. Now, imagine supercharging your Google search and shopping ads with reviews. As a Google partner, Reviews.io enables you to seamlessly integrate products and company reviews into your ads, helping you build trust and increase click-through rates. Adding verified reviews to your ads can be a game changer for standing out in any competitive space. One of my personal favorite ways to extend the reach of reviews is through their reputation management feature. This tool helps you distribute reviews to third-party platforms like Trustpilot and Facebook or even Google itself. Whether you want to send all your reviews to one platform or have reviews.io automatically spread them where you need the most visibility, this feature ensures your reviews are working harder for your brand. With reviews.io, you can manage both product and company reviews in one place, which streamlines your efforts while amplifying your brand's presence. If you're already using reviews or feel like you're not getting enough, there's a faster way. With reviews.io's Review Booster, you can collect reviews not only from new customers, but also from past customers, so you're not having to wait around for fresh orders to start building trust. Simply upload a list of customer details, and reviews.io will handle the rest, automatically sending out review requests with customized email invitations. This means you can quickly boost your credibility and start converting more shoppers. And if you're stuck in a long-term contract with your current reviews provider, reviews.io makes switching easy for listeners of the 2x e-commerce podcast. Through their contract buyout program, reviews.io will honor the time left on your contract so you can transition seamlessly without having to double pay for services. Once your buyout period ends, you'll enjoy their flexibility, no commitment monthly plans, giving you freedom and results without being locked into something that doesn't work for your business. Ready to make your reviews work harder for your business? Use the code 2X to get 10% off your first year with reviews.io. Just click the link in the episode description or ask the support team to apply the code for you. Applies to new customers only. Terms and conditions apply. So just to explain, to the majority of subscribers to this podcast are audio-only listeners, so they wouldn't have really gotten what you said. So you're holding what looks like an electric toothbrush. So the body of a Slate flosser feels like an electric toothbrush, and then it has a neck that extends to, it branches out to two tentacles, and that's where the floss string is. And you're talking about the dexterity, the functionality or the grip of the handle, which has like contours that would allow you to figure out where your fingers should fit on there. So if you have arthritis, it's just easy. You get it, you feel it. But do you want to describe when, because I don't have a Slate, when you put a Slate flosser in between your teeth, what happens? Does it sort of dip in and then come out?
Yeah. So it's kind of like a piece of floss with two triangles stuck on the side. And if you've noticed, when your gums and teeth meet, there's a little triangle. And so we want to put the triangle right in there, because the stimulation of your gums is why we floss. And most people don't even understand that, because the bacteria is sitting underneath the gums. And with the sonic vibrations and our product, it vibrates the gums enough for the plaque and bacteria to be disrupted.
So you're shaking it, you're vibrating it, it loosens itself from the base of your gums. I just thought flossing was more around taking that string of food, just food debris from a mouth. So it's a bacteria extraction exercise.
Yeah, I think most people think it is to get rid of the big things, but actually flossing is to get rid of the things you can't see, because plaque turns into tartar in 48 hours. And once it's tartar, it can only be removed by a hygienist. And so we want to get it, well, it's in its soft stage.
Out.
Out. So, yeah.
Okay. Now I want to go back to your first statement, your intro, when you were given the backstory. You studied as a product designer. Where did you study?
I went to Brigham Young University in Utah. I'm actually Canadian, but I wanted to go somewhere that was warmer. And at the time, BYU was the top 3 program in the United States. So I was like,
Great.
okay, I want to go there.
Absolutely, from cold Canada to hot Utah. Okay, did you get into product? Why were you fascinated in product design?
I love making things easier for people, and I also loved creating. So my sister actually had a friend who was a product designer, and that's where I was like, you can design shoes. I loved sports growing up, and I always wanted to have like the great pair of runners. And I was like, okay, I'm going to become a Nike shoe designer. That was my goal when I first started design school. I just thought, I'm going to make products that are ergonomic and then that people enjoy using.
Okay, so right off college up until Slate, you mentioned something about Johnson. What was the trajectory? What were you designing? What was your everyday professional life like prior
Well,
to Slate?
before Slate, I did 3 internships while I was in college. One was at Johnson and Johnson. You know, I wanted to see, what do I care about? What do I like? One was with a child's product. And then one was with a home goods company. But what I realized is I got married when I graduated, and my husband was still in school, so I couldn't leave Utah unless he wanted to move schools, which he probably would have done if I needed to. So I actually became a furniture designer and worked with Wadsworth Design then. But as I did all those 4 different things, what I realized I was the most passionate about was the medical field, and I loved being able to work on products. So when I worked for Johnson and Johnson, I worked in their breast care division, working on different devices there, and trocars, which are when they are doing a surgery in your stomach, they will blow it up with air, and then they put devices almost like ports into your stomach, so they don't have to make a bunch of incisions or cut you open. They will then put the different tools through what the trocar, and so it's really cool. It makes the surgery less intense for you to recover from.
So Johnson and Johnson is a medical device company. So it's a really nice trajectory, like from medical devices to then dental oral care devices. That makes a lot of sense. I could join the dots there. Okay, that is interesting. And prior to Floss, which of the projects were you most excited about? What products did you develop that you were most excited about?
You mean with Johnson and Johnson, or with anything?
Across the board?
I think I would say like working on the trocars was really cool because I got to see R&D with the engineers, and then I got to see the design aspects. And it's a little less like blue sky. Blue sky is what they call like Nike, where you like can do whatever. It's like I liked that we were making a product that would be used, and so it had the ability to have form and function but function was the primary goal of the design.
Yeah. And it's full circle with Slate because it's got the form factor and it's highly functional. It was built for function. So that's super interesting. Now, for listeners who are either developing their product or are thinking about developing a product, what shouldn't they do? What should they avoid in the process of developing a product to market or bringing a product to market?
You can waste a lot of money in this process. So for me, I think the thing I learned the most was our initial design we did in the United States with engineers because our product, the internal components matter. Our second product we did with designers in China, and they were used to making electric toothbrushes. So the cost difference was a lot less when we used the designers in China. I think the problem, there's 2 things that I learned is US designers are going to listen to you and maybe come out with a better design. But the Chinese designers, if you can have a great designer and have them work with Chinese, like the factory themselves, I think you get a better product that way, and it's going to cost less. I definitely enjoyed that process better than when I was working in the United States, which shocked me. I would have thought it would have been different. But I get worried for an entrepreneur. Like, we spent $200,000 designing this product, and I don't think people think about that initial cost. At least we didn't when we started.
Mm-hmm. And how did you fund it?
So we did a friends and family round to get our initial stuff started, and we put our life savings towards the engineers at first. And then we realized, okay, this is going to cost more money than we have saved. So then we had some friends and family. Then we did a Kickstarter to get enough orders in, and we were able to do $200,000 on Kickstarter. So that was really cool.
Amazing. And how did it feel going to the unknown? A lot of people don't talk about it. We talk about, we made X number of sales, but that stage, how did it feel?
I was almost sick to my stomach, actually. Like, it was really hard because it was so unknown. I remember doing the Kickstarter and being like, we didn't do enough market research. Like, we should have charged more for our Kickstarter than we did, because I was like, we have to pay for all the shipping and we have to pay for all this. And I thought we had thought it out, but looking back, people just don't realize how hard it is. Like, it is a really rough road, but I believed in the product and I believed that it would change people's lives. And if I didn't have that belief, I don't know if I would have got through the hard part.
Yeah. So really interesting. And was the Kickstarter campaign, was it eventually profitable?
Yes. So, I mean, it was, so my husband is okay with more risk than I am. I like to have savings. And so I'm like, we have 5 kids. That's a lot of kids to just be like, hey, I actually should preface with, this started during COVID. We had given all of our money before COVID happened. And then COVID happened, and I asked, can we get our money back? Because we got shut down for 2 months as a dental office, which meant we had 0 income for 2 months. And we had given all our savings away. So I think also it was a double-edged sword of, it was a stressful time.
Layered with all that was going on, there was a lot going on. You turn on the TV, you turn on the social media, and there was just a lot going on with with the fact that you're in the middle of product development. Was it at the time with China, or was it with your US team?
So it was with our US team and a Philippines factory. So
you eventually moved everything to China.
Yeah, just in the last month. We were still doing stuff with the Philippines. I love the Philippines. The problem, there's just some different problems. But now I'm nervous that there might be different problems in China with if we get new tariffs. But manufacturing is just better in China.
Yeah. I think they have the economies of scale at this point in time.
Yeah, with the Philippines, we could only do like a 500 a day without making new molds and different things. And in China, we can do 180,000 in a month and not even bat an eye.
There you go. You said it better. That's a comparison. So a lot of people listening to that will take a lot of value, suck up value right there from what you just said. And then in Kickstarter, when you brought it to market, do you want to timestamp that, please? And do you want to timestamp when you brought it to market?
Yeah, so we did the Kickstarter October 21, and we got product to our people November of 2022.
So just over a year.
We had like the molds made in October. We thought we'd be able to deliver it by March, but add shipping issues with COVID, communication errors with the factory because we couldn't have boots on the ground because of COVID. It lengthened the process. And for me, like, if I say I'm going to do something, I want to do it. And so that was very hard because I felt like I told the people they'd get it this date and they didn't get it. And I do not like that. But
Yeah.
they got it in November 2022.
Most Kickstarters do not deliver on time. And worse still, there are many Kickstarters that don't even deliver. You're on the right side of stats. So how many product iterations have you, or design iterations have you gone through since November of 2022?
Well, our original one was battery powered.
Okay.
We changed a few things with the button, but it wasn't a major design change. And then we decided that if we were moving to China, we wanted it to be rechargeable. And so we've really had two different major design modifications, but a lot of tweaks here and there.
And again, this is for the listeners. How do you envisage iterations? Are they going to be planned annual updates like you have the iPhone, or are you just going to wait for sufficient customer feedback till you iterate?
Yeah, so we love customer feedback, so much so that I send an email to every customer and ask for feedback. And I get really great feedback. It's so interesting. You only know what you experience. So without other people's feedback, you can't make it better. And I don't have tight teeth, so I need people to tell me when they experience that. But we will not, we have other products we want to launch. The iterations will be less. So I would say like maybe every 2 years, but we're hoping to come out with new products in 2025, and they're all secrets.
It's exciting. We can't wait to see them. For listeners, do you want to give listeners an idea of the size of your business, both from a order volume perspective and your top line? I assume you're profitable.
Yes. So it's been so fun to see our growth. We did 200,000 in 22. We did about $1 million in 23. And this year we're really close to being at 4 million. So I hope we can get there, but it's been fun to grow. We introduced different colored floss heads this year, and we introduced the rechargeable flosser. So we're at about 70,000 users right now. So we're very excited about
it. Is
like, think of how many people are having better health now.
Absolutely. Okay, so I understand the 200K was Kickstarter. Yeah, one was Kickstarter. So moving from 200K to 1M, what did you do differently?
So many things. Well, people can't buy your product if they don't know it exists. So we started email, SMS, and we started doing Meta and Google ads. And we also went to 4 trade shows. We really care about being backed by the dental industry. We want to know that if you asked a dentist, what electric flosser should I get? They would say Slate, hands down Slate. And so we go to dental trade shows. That's actually on the fence, because we now see that we can message dentists through Meta, and it might be a better use of funds to do it that way. So, but we care about being backed by dentists. So that's a really big priority of ours.
So do you sample with dentists? Do you give them samples of Slate products?
I would love to be able to give them free samples, but we give them discounted samples so that if they go to our website and sign up for our dental professional program, they get a coupon to purchase their first flosser at a discounted rate. So if they love it, then we actually will send them demo units for their office. Because what we learned is if a hygienist can show you the Slate in front of you, then you're like, yes, I would use that every day.
Yeah. Show me, don't tell me. Show me, don't tell me. And that's why the trade events, in-person trade events actually work, because the decisioning process there, they have your full attention there. And the decisioning is just much more quicker than a meta ad that they might come in and come out from. Super, super interesting. So you went D2C to get to 1M after your Kickstarter. So was it just shop?
We did add Amazon in September. So we were D2C the whole year. We added Amazon in September because we noticed a lot of dentists were like, I just want to tell my patients to go get it at Amazon. And I was like, okay, well, would that cannibalize our website? There was lots of different things I was worried about, but ultimately I am glad we're on Amazon. This in 2024, we learned a lot more about Amazon. We were the only flosser on Amazon in 2023 because we're a brand new whitelisted product. We got a lot of knockoffs in 2024, but what we've seen is they come and then they slowly go because their product isn't quality.
Do you have any like IP protection service behind you?
Yeah, so no one has this our floss head is what makes our product super special, and that's what we have patented. And so no one has knocked off our floss head yet.
Okay.
If they did, we have a patent on that, and we would definitely do something about it.
So there is a service called IP Moat, and they work with SMEs at a very reasonable annual price. And what they do essentially is they will take your patent, they'll go through all marketplaces, and they would act like lawyers to get them down. So they know exactly everything is automated, where they get in touch with whether it's a Temu or an Amazon, and they will take down imitations basically. So you don't have to essentially.
I need that info. What is it called?
IP Modes. I'll link to it in the show notes, and I'll send you an email. I've been speaking to their team, and it's AI, and they're fast growing. It's super, super interesting for businesses such as yours. So you essentially rip the benefits of your labor. Really, it's literally.
Yeah, because that's the hardest part is if you have a patent, you have to enforce the patent, and the patent
you have to enforce it.
Enforcing it is expensive.
So they told me about another company that does it for the likes of Nike, and like the entry price was just, I think it was like 5 figures a month you pay them to do the work. But with their one, they're able to help Shopify merchants essentially to enforce their IP and essentially take action. Not just, hey, you've been knocked off here, but they do the work.
That's cool. Phenomenal. Do they ever work in tandem with lawyers? Because I was
one of the owners is a lawyer.
Okay.
So they've been able to automate it, but I'll send you the details.
I think that is such an important thing to realize. Like, we decided we'll apply for the patent and then we'll full steam ahead, because in order to enforce a patent, you have to have money. We just got our patent part of our patent granted just a few months ago, and so it takes a long time for that to happen.
Okay. I'll enter you. Okay, so you were D2C. So when you set up the Kickstarter campaign, you also had a website. It was D2C, so you were getting orders largely from Kickstarter, but some of it was coming D2C. Then you activated Amazon. How would you describe the journey from $1 million to $4 million in 2024?
Yes. So in 2023, it was me and a lot of contractors. I didn't have any other team members. And so I was able to, in February, I was like drowning because I had like 20 contractors and I was working and I have 5 kids. And I was like, I don't have time for anything. So I got a team member, and that's kind of scary because I'm like, if I don't make money, I can figure out what I need to do. But when you have payroll of other people, you have to realize so I brought Caroline on, and it was like a match, just a really great match. And we started moving full steam ahead. And then we both got so busy in September, we were like, we have to each have someone who helps us do what we're doing. So I got an assistant, and she got a graphic designer to help her. And I think the hardest part is you kind of want to hire C-suite people. I read the book Who Not How 2 months ago, and I was like, okay, we got to get the right people, but usually the right people cost a lot of money. So we have a fractional CFO, we have a fractional like retail strategist. So it's just trying to figure out the right people to help you grow. So the 1 to 4, I feel like me and Caroline kind of could do that with a little bit of help of other people, but like we just worked really hard. In 2025, I feel like to go from 4 to 8 or 4 to 10 or whatever, you have to have a lot more calculated decisions on like, okay, how do we make slow months not slow? And how do we get out there more? So we're really excited about 2025, but it's putting a lot of pressure to really strategize on how to do that.
What's Caroline's role?
I call her my brand and marketing strategist. Okay. So what I realized is I was working with someone from Amazon. I was working with someone from these different places, and they were changing the brand. And I was like, you can't change the brand. The brand is so important. So I was like, I can't seem to manage them. And Caroline is a great designer. And so she was like, okay, I'm going to make sure that the brand feels cohesive. We're still working on making sure that happens, because anytime you hire a new agency or a new team member, they kind of put their own flair on your brand, and you're like, nope, you can't do that. You got to stay in the brand.
If your brand, if Slate was a human, describe Slate to me, to us, okay, to the audience.
I think there's two Slate people. So there's the 45-year-old who loves to exercise. They care about what they eat. They care about inflammation. They are very health conscious. They're trying to figure out how, when they're 90 years old, that they are enjoying life. That is our person. Our second person is the person who went to the dentist. They were told they had gum disease, and they were like, I don't want that. What am I going to do about this gum disease? I'm going to use Slate. So those are our two people right now.
Okay, that makes sense. Those are your ICPs, right? So one who's learning from pain and one who wants to prevent pain long term.
Yeah.
But if Slate was a human and male or female, would Slate be male or female? How would they talk? How would Slate talk to me? Is Slate a dentist that's in glasses and serious, or is Slate a really playful Gen Z type person? Who is Slate? Okay. How does Slate come across to the customer?
We want Slate to come across as the kindest dentist ever. That, like, we're not playful and funny, but I don't know, it's like the dental interpreter person. Like, we want to have scientific data backing us up, but it's like your friend who's the dentist who you could call on the phone and say, like, I fell and I hit my tooth. What am I going to do now? That's what we want people to feel like. They can trust us, that we're giving them something that's going to help their health. But we don't want to feel like a stuffy dentist. So obviously I need to work on that so I have a clearer answer next time.
No, it's good to, it's interesting, because there's some brands, if like I get an email in text, I know it's a brand, just a plain text email.
See, and I think we're still working on that.
If you do that at scale. Yeah, no, it's amazing. It's amazing. It's a journey. It's brilliant. Okay. So what has been your marketplace strategy across the board? So we have Amazon. Are you in any other marketplaces?
We are dipping our toes in the dental market. So like there's a few places like Benco and Dental City that you can, as a dentist, purchase us on, but it makes sense for them to come directly to us. So we have a wholesale through Slate, but that is a very, very small portion of our business. We're mostly just Amazon and D2C. Our goal is to be in retail in 2026.
Okay. And these are the building blocks. So that 2025 is very crucial to get in there.
Yeah.
Okay. In my notes, you mentioned the need to educate the market, just to educate the public about gum disease, about the need to and how flossing is so fundamental to preventing it. If you look back at 2024, how has Slate educated the general market?
So that is our goal. So we hope through like our email campaigns and through our social media and our ads that we teach people why they need to floss. Everyone knows they need to floss, but most people are like, yeah, the last time I flossed was when I was at the dentist or when I had popcorn in my teeth. But if they understood, anytime we tell people about gum disease and what it's doing to your body, they're like, if the dentist would have told me that, I would have been flossing. Um, and and the dentist, like my husband, are like, I swear we tell them that, but it just goes in one ear and out the other. And I was like, okay, we need to tell people on a regular basis that, you know, the inflammation that comes from your gums, so the brain barrier, it's crazy, kicks most thing out. But for some reason, the bacteria that are in your mouth can go through the brain barrier. So that's why it can affect things like dementia, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's. Those are all under the same umbrella. And then heart disease, like people don't know, if you needed heart surgery, you have to go to your dentist and get a letter saying you don't have gum disease. And people are like, what? If you need heart surgery, you just get it. Well, the problem is there's a really high failure rate if you have gum disease. So the heart disease, COPD, diabetes, dementia, those are all tied. But what like blew my mind, and I didn't know this till I was working at the dental office, is preterm labor, low birth weight. Those are from gum disease too. And like as a woman, I just think there's not enough research done for what the effects of gum inflammation is. Like we know it affects menopause. So I just think when you understand, oh, to have whole body health, I actually need to have oral health. Like your gut microbiome is affected by your oral microbiome.
Because when you look at the journey of food through our system, it starts with the teeth, it starts with the mouth, and then goes into the guts. And so getting it right up front is so key. Getting that conducive environment to take in more food, to digest more food or crunch more food is so important. So important. Your website is lovely, by the way.
Thank you.
It's got the visuals. It's so much on brand. Just looking at it, and I think speaking to the point you made, I'll just read this out to you. By prioritizing education, we're able to build trust with our audience and convert hesitant buyers into loyal advocates for our brand. The remit, whoever designed your brand got that key, got that really well, got that in, and they've been able to educate without scaring. Because there's something happening now, what I noticed on social media now with creators and influencers, there's some creators you tap into or you subscribe to, and they fearmonger all the time. And there's a clear line between fearmongering and then educating. And I think your website
That's
is educating.
very hard to do too. Because we're like, fear mongering sells.
It does. It does.
And so
it
I'm
does,
like,
but does it retain? That's the question. Does it retain?
well, I think that with our current audience, they tend to care about their health. So we don't have to fear monger them. But it's funny, our meta team was like, I think you should do more ads about how all these things. And I was like, we don't want to be fear mongering. We want people to give them a tool that they can do that changes their habits. But that means they have to want to do it. So is the fear mongering going to give them that want, or is it just going to be a temporary thing?
It depends on the ICP you're speaking to. Yeah, that's a good one. But yeah, it's interesting. So do you want to speak to like influencers? How have you worked with influencers in the past year?
Well, this has been, you try and you see what happens. So we love littler influencers because we see that they're great to work with and they have a lot of trust with their audiences. And so we only like to work with people who have tried our product and love it. That's like our number one thing. If you try it and you don't love it, we don't want to work with you. So we have a few dentists that we work with that really do a great job. We've tried moms, we've tried lifestyle influencers. They have to have some tie to health in order for it to be beneficial, we've seen so far. Like if a mom that has no tie to health shares it, it doesn't really result. We also tried, like there is an influencer who he teaches men health habits. So we thought, well, this will work great because our product is a thing to make you better. It didn't convert, which really shocked us. We thought this is going to help tap into a new market. What we see is it needs to be a doctor, a dentist, a health provider, someone who has some type of educational base. Otherwise, people don't trust it.
Do you collaborate with influencers does your internal team do the influencer collaborations, or do you have an agency?
No, we do it internally.
Okay.
I think that maybe it might be easier to use an agency, but we wanted to be able to really know. Most of them know me. We want them to feel part of the brand. At this point, we're still small enough to do that.
Absolutely. What we found was we've sold millions through like influencers, and what we found with one of our brands was that teachers. So we had a very strict, so we didn't do celebrities, we didn't do like reality TV, because reality TV, what's it called, influencers, quotes and unquote, they would have like really good numbers. We didn't do them. But when we laid on teachers, because a lot of the time, if you're teaching, your audience already has trust in you. So when you say, look, I vouch for this product, I used it, and these are my results, even if there is not too much of an affinity in like the sector. So I could be selling a beauty product, but I could sell it to an interior designer who's teaching an audience how to design their house. And it works across. The key thing for us was like teachers. And then obviously if their stats are real, then we had a chance. We at least had a bit of chance. But yeah, it's really good trial and error with influencers.
That if it was someone who like buys products and recommends products, people also would buy from them. So, that was interesting. Those are kind of the two groups that have worked for us so far. But we're willing to try new ones. But we've seen like our UGC it usually performs way better if it's a dentist. If it's UGC, I would have thought like people would want to hear from the average user, but people want to hear from a dentist.
So you're speaking to using influencers for your ads?
Yeah.
Okay. Because there's a whole new world of using like performance-based influencers where you pay the influencer and they actually post to their IG stories or IG reels and generate sales directly for you.
Okay, so we do that as well.
Okay.
And so that is still our dentist. But when we're asking for UGC to do for ads, our ads that convert are usually dental ones and not. We've seen like a few, like there's this lady called Grown Up Dish. She just talks about products that help her as a grown up, and she's like 50 years old, and and hers convert. So it's like interesting. You're like, why hers? We have other older people who do it, and we don't see the same conversion.
Okay, to wrapping up, what about TikTok Shop? Do you sell through TikTok Shop?
Yes, it's like doesn't do well for us yet. So we either need to figure out how to do it, or it's just not our demographic. We've been trying it for a whole year. We last Black Friday, Cyber Monday, we put a lot of ad dollars behind that to see if it would convert. And we just didn't really see it. So we haven't put very much energy into it, but we are on TikTok. But we've had 2 viral videos, but not something that converts.
Okay, makes sense. Okay, let's wrap up. But I want to ask you a question because you've done this before. So for listeners who have just hit 7 figures, so 1 million in revenue, and are looking to replicate what you did in 2024, which is 4, maybe even 5 million, aiming for that as a goal in 2025. how would you guide them to hitting that goal?
Make sure you have great ad creation. You're willing to try things and mess up, and that you have some type of, if you're on D2C, you need to have some type of influencer or affiliate program.
Okay. And how have like affiliates worked for you for Slate?
Well, for like Black Friday, Cyber Monday, they generated $60,000 in sales. So for us, that was good. Could we have done better? Of course, but that was exciting to see because we really started harnessing them better in September. And so we're excited.
And because it's paper for performance, as in they know what's working and they'll continue to do more of what's working. And if that relationship is nurtured and grown, as in it could be massive for your top line and bottom line.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, I think we've wrapped up. Well, before I let you go, we have a lightning round. I'm going to ask you about 5 or 6 rapid fire questions, and if you could use just a sentence to answer them, I appreciate it.
Okay, I'll try.
Okay. What advice would you give yourself like 5 years ago?
Be okay with making mistakes and burning money.
Okay. Who has been your most meaningful business contact in the last 5 years?
We did raise money, and I have an investor named Tom Simpson, and he helps. He's a good mentor.
Okay. Are you a morning person?
I am. I love the morning. I wake up at 5:30. I exercise. I eat a smoothie, and then I get my 5 kids out of bed.
What 2 things can't you live without?
My kids and the lake.
What has been your best mistake to date? But that's a setback that's giving you the biggest feedback.
I think I learned a lot about supply chain during COVID. I think the best mistake, I guess, I had an error in my product and I had to fix it. And it made me think about supply chain and how to do that so much better. So now I watch it really in detail now.
Amazing. Final question. If you could choose a single book or resource that has made the highest impact on how you view building a business and growth, which would it be?
There's so many. I just read Who Not How, and I feel like right now that's impacting me a lot.
Amazing. BRYNN, it's been an absolute pleasure learning about Slate's journey and your story, your backstory. And yeah, this episode has been a very special one to kickstart 2025.
Thank you so much for having me on your podcast. I'm so excited that you had me, and I love that you care about wellness and making products more like sustainable. So thank you for all of your efforts.
My pleasure. Thank you for listening to this episode of the 2X e-commerce podcast. Wasn't BRYNN's story inspiring? I loved hearing how a simple idea combined with a real passion to helping people can grow into a thriving business. From creating a patented product to scaling to $4 million in revenue, BRYNN shared so much actionable insights, from how to connect with customers to finding the right team and handling growth challenges. I hope you're leaving this episode as inspired and motivated as I am to taking action in your own business. So if you loved this episode, please share it with a friend, leave a review, and make sure you're subscribed so you never miss out on these incredible stories and insights. Thank you again for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next episode.